What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. Yes, we were back this week, episode 351. How is everybody doing? Sorry for the little bit of start late. You know, we're fashionably late this week, but you know, we're here. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us, joining with us once again. Retweet that link. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live. The best place to get all your gaming news. You want all of that in one spot. Come hang out with us every single Saturday evening, man. I appreciate all you guys once again. We got some great guests tonight. You know, obviously we got a familiar face, got the general, and I gotta say this for one. Shout out to you, Mav. I know you guys did 200 last night. I wasn't able to make the show, man. I appreciate you sending the link anyway, but 200 is a big fucking deal, brother, and I want to make sure we celebrate that here first and foremost, man. That is awesome. Knowing you for a few years now, man, you were gonna end up wherever you wanted to go, bro, with the show, because you were that fucking good at what you do. And everybody around you benefits, bro. So just shout out to you, man. But thank you for hanging out with us tonight too, man. Let everybody know, man.
Hey, yeah, I appreciate you saying that, man. I like it. You're one of the people, you know, that I really have looked up to ever since we started everything. You know, I met you really early on. You reached out to me, sent me an invite when we barely had even gotten our stuff going, you know,
Yeah.
and like, and I was like, you were already like approaching 200, I think yourself back then. And
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is like how you do it. You know, this guy's professional and he's like, you know, he runs the show like really well. And, you know, I've always just thought of this podcast as like an example of how to like properly do a podcast. Not saying that's what we do at all.
Yeah, no.
We just kind of just do.
They take on their own identity, yeah.
Yeah, but like I've always enjoyed listening, even when I'm not able to like be a guest on here or whatever, or whatever. I've just always enjoyed watching this show, and you know, I think you're one of the pillars out there that have kind of been here for a long time. Everybody respects you, and that's because of the person you are as well. So
thank you, bro. That means a lot, man.
Anything you say, you know, like about us or our content, like it means a lot more coming from you than it would a lot of other people. You know,
appreciate that, bro.
It's always great to be here. The chat. Hey guys, it's PTK Blam's Shop. We know what to do. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have a blast.
Oh yeah. No shortage of things to talk about either. It's always fun on these kind of weeks when we don't have to think too hard. We can just jump right in feet first, man. Got both co-mayors here too. That's always fun too. So shout out to everybody, like I said in chat. Once again, retweet the link. Let everybody know we live, man. I will bring this thing back more consistent. I know I've been missing, you know, some weeks here and there. You know, a lot of things going on, but we are back, man, and I feel good this week. So we ready to jump in. I got my brothers with me, man. My two right-hand man here. My two real brothers in real life. Shout out to you, Pong. I know we was just rapping pre-game, talking about all the stuff we playing. You know, you always got the sales pitch every Saturday.
I do. I gotta have the sales pitch, brother.
Oh yeah,
it's part of the deal. Yeah, no, we were definitely talking about what's going on. Great to be back, by the way. You know, from another week off. Love hearing your voice, PTK.
Thank you, brother.
Back on here with you.
I miss you guys, man, for sure.
Yeah, and of course, another show with Mav is always a good time, especially after episode 200 last night.
That was epic, man. I had to go back and rewatch the replay.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. We had a lot of cool people roll through, and would love to see you there, but we know how things are, man. Real life, bro.
I love you guys for real, man.
Yeah, no, we love you, brother. So, it's been busy week. Again, I don't get the game as much during the week as I did, but as I normally do, just schedule-wise. But last weekend, you know, Steele and I did 3 streams total, 17 hours, just over 17 hours of Space Marine 2 campaign co-op. We beat the entire campaign, beat all the side missions except for one. It is now firmly placed second next to Dragon's Dogma as a game of the year for this year, and it's close. And I have not played the PvP yet. So Steele has it as his game of the year, and you know how picky Steele is when it comes to this
I was gonna say Steele is is he including the PvP? He's played the PvP. I said okay, you know Steele's a PvP dude.
He's got 20 hours of PvP already.
Oh yeah.
That's it's always been playing.
Oh, he's all the way in. He's all
the way in, which again tells you a lot because the man is picky when it comes to PvP. He does not stick with something if it isn't worth his time. For him, again, there's only 3 maps and 3 modes in PvP. Let me make this clear. Again, 3 maps, 3 modes, and Steel has put 20 hours of PvP in. It is that good for him. I can't wait to try it. I was supposed to try it last Sunday, got busy, couldn't tag up with him. Planning on doing that this week at some point to try the PvP. But let me just tell you, Space Marine 2, for anybody on the fence, go get it. Over 2 million people had bought it. They announced as of Tuesday. That's 5 days. 5 days for a Warhammer game to have 2 million buys.
Didn't they announce it's the fastest selling focused entertainment game?
Yeah,
ever?
And it goes back to the CEO and what's his face? Oh God, I just forgot the gentleman's name. The gentleman also on this team is the head. Is also worked at id, and he says it's the fastest selling game he's ever been a part of, including Doom, including Quake. So this is one hell of a moment for Warhammer. This is one hell of a moment for Saber and Focus. Warhammer IP has never had a AAA product like this, a game like this. They have never had this type of visibility on them. This is bringing back the old 360 days. Everybody's talked about it. You can go watch all the videos. Asmongold had a great reactionary video to somebody else.
I watched his. Yep.
Oh, man. Again, this is the game that a lot of devs and publishers have tried to convince us can't exist nowadays, that this just can't work nowadays. So for a variety of reasons, due to obviously the complete package, the campaign, the co-op, and the PvP, they claim that doesn't work anymore like it did during the 360 era. They claim that the modern audience doesn't want hypermasculinity game in their games, which is what this purely is. This is just a kick-ass game through and through, and it's no nonsense, and everybody's loving this. This is, again, if you are any type of Gears head, if you even have an inkling, go buy this game. You will get your money's worth out of it. The story is amazing. The graphics off the charts. The acting is good. Steel and I, you can go watch our streams. We just went from laughing to holy shit moments to, oh my God, we are getting swarmed. How the hell are we going to get out of this? To laughter, to, are you seeing this? Is this really happening right now when we got towards the end levels? Like, you had the whole range of emotions from us, and it was just non-stop. It just keeps you going from moment to moment. I definitely recommend, if you have a buddy or two, do the co-op. Single player, I've been seeing a lot of people have fun with it. It does get a little bit tougher depending on what level you're playing with the bots. The bots are machines. They are Terminators when it comes to actually fighting and rescuing you. But as Jez pointed out, he's playing it solo with two bots. The objective-based mission levels, you're going to have a harder time because those bots aren't as smart when it comes to helping you with the objectives. So that might be a little bit tougher for you. But if you got, me and Steel played, we had our bot. We could not stop talking about the bot. Chiron, bro, we got to this one level towards the end. We were just getting mobbed, and Steel's like, where's Chiron? And he's like, yo, look at Chiron. Chiron was like 100 meters ahead of us in the middle of the biggest swarm of shit you've ever seen. Just blood flying everywhere, man. The bot is no joke. So,
I love that.
Again, hands down across the board. And again, I can't speak to PvP, but I will trust Steel through and through. Again, I know who he is as a gamer. So when he tells me it's that good and he's been playing it nonstop, this is the complete package. And again, it's a complete package that they claim doesn't work nowadays. So this needs to keep blowing up. It is getting memed everywhere. TikTok, the younger generation is now picking up on this game, going, they don't see games like this anymore. Like, this is a game we don't get in so many different ways. They are memeing it. I don't go on TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but it's leaking over onto X. People are reposting all the memes of people going, holy shit, are you seeing this game? Oh my God, look at this game. It's just classic stuff. Go get this game. It should be up for a Game of the Year contender. It probably won't be for many award shows, but it definitely will be up in awards categories. Yeah. If this thing isn't winning Best Action Game, of 2024, I don't know what to tell you these award ceremonies anymore. I don't think there's another action game that has come close to this. Now, obviously, it depends what else they put in there or consider action, but I don't think there's another game that touches this thing. So it should be in there. It should be in for some of the graphics. Hell, some of the acting should be, some of the actors should be up for awards this year too, depending on which award ceremony you're talking about, BAFTAs or whatever else. Great game. Total package, go buy it. Hands down, one of the best values in gaming that you can buy right now.
I've literally heard nothing but good things about that game. In my feed, I've watched in a probably a rational amount of YouTube walkthroughs and just videos, different videos. I watched Asmongold. I know you mentioned him earlier.
Yep.
I watched his play. The game looks amazing, bro. And it once again, it harkens back to the 360 days, harkens back to just, them IPs that we get that we just don't really get that often. You know what I mean? And it just happens to be Warhammer this time, which, shout out to Henry Cavill. Shout out to Henry Cavill, the big man, been fighting that Warhammer fight for years. Finally going to get either a TV show or a movie. I think he's working on something like that. He's finally going to get that done. Yeah. So, but shout out to I love seeing a franchise like this get his due credit after all this time.
And again, for all the people out there who've been complaining we don't get games like this is your chance to go support one. This is your chance to go tell the industry, because we know exactly what happens. People are going to look at this now and go, oh my God, this is the Warhammer IP. Like they've been AA hit or miss. They've never sold like this. If they can pull this off, we can pull this off with X, Y, and Z IP that we have in our back pocket. So go support this game, because other devs and publishers are going to be looking at it. Steele and I talked about this today, and I don't mean to go on a rant here, but Steele and I talked about this today real quick. This is one of the ways we've been talking about for a while. It's not going to fix everything, but a lot of the complaints and a lot of the talking points that the devs and publishers have been making about games taking too long to make, too big of teams, too much money involved, big risks. This is one of the ways you can mitigate that. Going back to the old school, make a smaller campaign, 10 to 15 hour campaign, give us co-op, give us PvP, tack it on like you guys used to back in the 360 era. You don't have to have a competition with Fortnite. You don't have to have a competition with Call of Duty. You start building a small community around a smaller experience of PvP and co-op. That's how they used to do it in the 360 era. That's what you get back to. Lower costs, and you sell the complete package as a full price game. Nobody is going to complain, because look how well this game has been received, how well it's come out. It's not perfect by any stretch, but it's very, very polished. It only took them about 4 years. I think the team is about 100 people total. It's not a gigantic team. And this is the first time Saber's put together a AAA game, and it's come out in great shape across the board. I think going back to this formula, not with everything, again, you got to have a good mix, but in some instances could solve a lot of problems that a lot of the publishers and devs are complaining about right now in the industry. Yep.
Love it. We need these good examples, man. Shout out to you, Pong. Always, like I said, the sales pitch at the beginning of every show. So get your debit cards ready. Pong gonna say you something. If you're new here, you're gonna buy a game before you end the podcast. I promise you that. At least gonna go look at it. So shout out to you, Pong, for being here, bro. Missed you last week. Like I said, missed you guys. My brother Fuzz, man. What's up, man? How you doing? I missed you, boy.
Man, it's been a while, but
yeah.
I'm so glad to be here. Glad we're back, man. Just off of social media for the most part, playing State of Decay 2, just falling into an old.
You've been
game
vegging out, man, for real.
Yeah.
I had to hit Fuzz in the actual chat on Xbox to get a hold of him.
Yeah, I'm on this zombie kick type of thing, whether it's because of the movies I'm watching or whatnot, but didn't want to go back to Dying Light 2 just yet, and just figured I'd give State of Decay 2 another chance, because I guess they're wrapping up support for it next month. I mean, it's one of those like ongoing games without it truly being a games as a service, but they kept supporting it with updates and things like that for pretty much, 4 years, 5 years now. Mm-hmm. So just enjoying all that stuff. And
it's like update 45 or something they're on, or something crazy like that.
Yeah, they're pretty close to 40 right now. Yeah. I think like either 37 or 38 that they're on right now, but there's a lot of like 0.2s and 0.3s in there. So they've had over 40 updates, but the big updates and things like that. Yeah, it's definitely paying off. But really looking forward to State of Decay 3. I mean, I'm still playing Forza Horizon 5. Also looking forward to Horizon 6 for the most part. But yeah, just on my zombie kick right now. Living the Walking Dead life with base building. I mean, I think that's the biggest draw to this game over something like a Dying Light or things like that, where you at least have not just the exploring and the gathering of supplies and upgrading gear and weapons and things, but you also got the base building aspects and defending that base against, either raiders or zombies and things. So yeah, just having fun. But man, I'm pretty sure we're going to get into this PlayStation 5 business today because it's pretty good. It's going down pretty much how we expected as far as price. But man, I can't believe people are comparing it to a 4090. But yeah, we'll get into it. But so glad to be here with you guys. Glad we got Mav here tonight as well. Yeah, let's do this.
Let's get into it, man. Shout out to chat once again. Retweet that link. Let everybody know we are back, man. So shout out to you. What's up, Umber in chat, Mazer, Def Leopard, everybody hanging out with us. Appreciate you guys coming through this week. Make sure everybody know we are live, man. But let's get into it. Great segue, by the way, Fuzz. You read my mind, man. This is how you know we've been doing this pick and roll for so long, bro. So we starting off, obviously, with the big talk of the week, and that's going to be the PS5 Pro. So, I mean, we jump right off the porch on this one, fellas. There's been so much debate, so much talk about this, who's right, who's wrong. Obviously the price is going to be the big thing here. That's the first thing everybody noticed. We understand. Obviously we got the announcement, $699 USD, hard cold cash. So I mean, obviously, shades of PS3. A lot of people, are feeling like, what is this for? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm gonna ask you a question before we get in this. I'm gonna kind of set the premise here, right? Because I kind of want to see where you guys are gonna go if I change the perspective on this. So if we just remove the price, I'm asking the three of you. We're gonna start with you on this one, Mav. You two chat. We would just remove the price. We don't even account for the price. Did the actual show do what it was supposed to do? The show, the theatrics, the way they. You know what I mean? Essentially the show itself. So Mav, just I know we're going to get into the price. It's what everybody's talking about. But minus that, Mav, if you're a PlayStation fan, did the show do its job?
No, and that's been my biggest criticism of it. Like overall, they just didn't have enough selling point of the justification of the benefits, right? Regardless of if those benefits are actually going to be there or not, they didn't present them well. And part of that is because they failed again to deliver on the excitement of the future of the games for the platform. And part of me is like, if I'm really looking forward to investing in a newer machine that's more powerful, regardless of the price, I want to have games to look forward to really take advantage of that, right?
Yeah.
Not just older ones, because most of the games that they showed that are older already perform really well or have multiple modes to choose from.
Last of Us 2, we're looking at you, Last of Us 2.
And the examples they chose don't really highlight enough benefit to justify necessarily, hey, I need to get a better machine to take advantage of that, right? So presentation-wise, they just failed miserably.
And let's be honest, Cerny's not really good at that. That's not his strength. He's a tech guy. He's a you know what I mean, hardware guy. He's down to the metal. But he's not like a great presenter. Like his energy. Yeah, remember the PS4 Pro? That should have been on PBS, Mav.
Yeah. I mean, so ultimately, it comes down to what the bigger problem is with PlayStation, and like it's Cerny isn't really in charge of getting all the games out, and they don't have a lot of new games to show. Like we had all kind of speculated that they have to have some kind of a showcase or something when they announce the PS5 Pro, if it's going to actually happen. And thought that would be kind of their hopes and dreams thing, and showcase like, well, here's what to look forward to the next like couple of years on PlayStation, and then kind of and we also have this new console where you're going to be able to play all these games better on it. You know what I mean? And kind of like have some kind of general excitement and hype around
that.
That
felt like the obvious play.
Right, it seemed like it, but I think they didn't do it because they just don't have the games to show. They don't know when their pipeline's going to actually get in order. They don't
So does that lean into the idea that, you know, that 15 game slate, the live service game slate, was really the bulk of what they were going to be doing the next 2-3 years?
I think that's one of the big problems, and I think that's the reason Jim Ryan left. I think when they started to realize all the problems that were going on behind the scenes with this games as service transition and how expensive it was costing, and how these games are getting problems behind the scenes, and then Naughty Dog couldn't finish Factions, and when they turned it into a big thing, and all these other things, and it's kind of like, well, we kind of we can't keep doing this. We can't really afford to, or it's costing us our slate of games. And then they had that show where they had the complete failure of excitement on Fair Games and Concord when they had their actual first showcase in a while. And then the big games they revealed there were Concord and Fair Games, and everybody's just like, oh,
what the hell?
Yeah. What is that? And I think they sensed at that time, like, oh shit. Right? Like, I know PlayStation guys want some multiplayer games, but these are not generating any excitement or hype, or the conversation is really negative, and they're not used to having negative reactions after a big showcase, right? And I think but with the combination of the stuff going behind the scenes, the cancellations of the other games that they had, with all the other stuff that they had going on, I think that was when Jim Ryan is like, I got to get out of here before because I see the writing on the wall on this thing. And then, you know, you have the whole thing going on with Bungie, and Marathon is up in turmoil. They don't know exactly what it's going to turn into or become now. You have the fiascos going on with Destiny. The layoffs start to happen. The other studios get closed, and you have games of service games getting canceled that we've never even had.
Then you got the in-house Bobby Kotick stuff.
Yeah, and then you have the PSVR 2 kind of fiasco happen as well, you know, where kind of they're stopping long-term support on it, is what it seems like, because they even stopped manufacturing for a while until they do sell through, you know. So like overall it was kind of, they made a lot of blunders in the last few years that is catching up with them now, and they've had to rely on these remasters, these remakes, these third-party exclusive deals, second-party deals with second-party studios, and to foster some kind of lineup of games. Could you imagine if they hadn't struck those deals, like for those exclusives and stuff? I mean, it would have been even more horrible. And now they go and say, now maybe we're getting one or two maybe big games from PlayStation a year, because that's all they can really produce. And I think we're seeing that now. And if the fan base isn't excited for Fair Games and these other games that they have potentially coming out, then that's going to be even worse for them when it actually hits. And I mean, to actually release a game like Concord and to pull it 2 weeks after launch is like unheard of, right?
Yeah, that doesn't. When's the last time that's happened? Has that even?
I don't know.
I don't remember. I can't even remember. Yeah,
you probably have to find some small, like, ridiculous.
Oh, maybe the day before.
Well, no,
but that was a scam.
That was a scam. You're right. That was never really a game to begin with.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
okay, that makes
party
sense.
Wise, like from an actual platform holder, like I don't think this has ever happened like that. And for even for third parties and stuff, like you have games that are flop or failures out of the gate, or low player bases. But even a game like Babylon's Fall kept alive for a year. Right. And that was Square. Like, so you have PlayStation making this decision to like, hey, well, we can't let this be like an asterisk on our name or a mark here. We got to just get rid of this thing, right? And they shut it down, knowing that they had Astrobot the same week. And then they announced the PS5 Pro. So the whole news cycle has changed. But what hasn't changed is the uncertainty of the games that they have for the future that their fans care about, supposedly. And that's the reason really why it seems to fall flat for the PS5 Pro announcement. And making certain decisions, like pricing wise, I know we're going to get into that separately, but making certain decisions with what the console is also changed some of that. And I think that also affects the perception from the fan base as well. So they just missed a lot of marks, and ultimately it's just going to depend on the person, whether they see value in it or not. But I think largely it's going to be on third party. It's not going to be first party. Like they've presented it in a way that, hey, if this is your primary place to play and it's all you care about is PlayStation and all you play on, you're going to play some of these games better, older games maybe get some new modes, and also some of the third party stuff may get some new modes and stuff. But like, really, we don't have anything to announce as far as our games, and that's why the presentation really fell flat. It just was horrible examples of what it's going to do.
Yeah, and so that's that. I wanted to make sure I highlighted that first, because that's the first thing I thought of, Mav. I know the price is what everybody jumped on immediately. It's the low hanging fruit, right, at a situation. But I'm looking at I'm looking at this like, wait a minute, did you guys watch the show? That shit could have been $2.99, and I would have been like, wait a minute, like you didn't even give a good representation of like why should you buy this? Now, once again, I'm not a gatekeeper, right? Like, go where your wallet goes. You know, obviously this is not for everybody. This is probably going to be more for the enthusiasts. But at the same time, like, what's the market for this? You don't even have a roadmap at this point, Mav. The roadmap is non-existent. We know nothing about what they got planned next year, you know, at all. This is probably the most... I don't know. Can you recall a time where PlayStation was this dormant from like their first party offerings?
I mean, it's like Xbox towards the end of the Xbox One.
Yeah, like 2017, 18.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it seems like to me. And the amount of criticism and blame, everybody was like, where are the games and all this stuff? And there was so much conversation about that. Now it's like that doesn't even matter to people anymore. You know, like it's completely flipped with the amount of content coming for platforms, but you know what, like it's like that's not a factor anymore. It's just when it does come, it's going to be amazing, you know. So
it's crazy.
That's what they've kind of transitioned to. So.
Interesting. It's very, very interesting to see. And obviously we can get into the price too, Mav. I just wanted to you guys to speak from their perspective first, because that's the first thing I noticed right off the bat. So let me throw this over to you, Pong. Get your perspective on this. Obviously, you being a PC guy, you got a rig that can run a lot of different things. You've seen the comparisons in the community. I've seen both arguments on both sides. Some people, claiming that you can build the PC that's the same for whatever price, and then other people saying that you can't do that. It's impossible. Obviously the price is a big deal too here, Pong. But once again, starting just from the show itself, like the way it was presented, I don't think that's indicative of the product and the price that you set that product at.
I mean, where do you want to go with this, PTK? I mean, listen, I don't have a problem with this. Like everybody else, I really don't. Can I sit back and say $700 is crazy? Sure, I can sit back and say $700 is crazy, but it makes sense because, again, this is the first generation where we haven't had price drops in 4 years. Mm-hmm. We've actually had price increases on the consoles. So, right, we had one generation where we've really had a mid-gen. Everybody talks about mid-gen refreshes like we've had a bunch of them, and we really have. We've only had one, which is the PS4 generation. And the Xbox One generation. Mm-hmm. But if you look back at that, they had regular price drops like we normally get out of every console generation, right? By now, we should be paying $299 for these for the Series X and for the PS5. We should be paying about $299. And that hasn't happened. Again, we've had price increases elsewhere in the world, and they've kept these prices high. So if you're going to do a mid-gen refresh like Sony is, of course it's going to be higher. We just saw Xbox come out with the limited edition Series X, 2 terabyte, raised it by $100, $600, right?
$600, yeah.
We found out the PS5 Pro's got a 2 terabyte in it, so there's $100, right? So there's $600 right there. Now, again, disk drive, I don't care about the fucking stand. I don't care about the stand. Everybody's throwing that in there and making this 810. I'll just say 780, right, overall. So you're still talking about another $180 for an upgraded GPU and upgraded Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff. It is what it is, man. This is an enthusiast console at this point. Yeah. Overall, Dana Carvey, Cerny.
Oh my goodness!
It's too obvious. It's just what it is. He's the dollar store Dana Carvey. But he's not good at what he does. It was fine. But this is not the way you try to showcase this thing. I've never liked his talks. His talks are very dry.
You remember that PS4 Pro with the slides? Come on, man.
Bro. This is not a good presentation. Yeah. And then you're using compressed YouTube video to try to show these minute differences in the background of these games.
The guy in the 18 stands in the crowd. Look at his hat. You see the detail in his hat?
Terrible, man. Just absolutely terrible. So I would have had somebody else show off some better games. The choice of games was terrible. So no, it didn't do it. The one thing, and I want to use my time to push this, because I've been pushing it everywhere. I'm going to give PlayStation and Sony credit for this presentation, because the one thing they did do was kill the 30 frames narrative. And I am so freaking happy after all the conversations we've been having about 30 frames, after all the shit that we have taken for talking about the 30 frames, for saying that these devs need to push 60 frames on these consoles, that the console players are being treated as second-class citizens, and for all these people out here that have been hollering at us, telling us we just want to bitch and complain, we're Sony bots, we just want to tear down Xbox, you don't even know the difference between 30 frames and 60 frames, nobody could tell the difference, you guys played 30 frames forever, why are you complaining about 60 frames now, 30 frames is just fine, the devs got to do what they want to do, blah, 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 you guys are faking all this shit. Nobody except for you hardcore players, you PCMRs, play 60 frames. Cerny comes out and says, oh, yeah, so when we look at our stats, because all of their first-party titles give their players options, which is something I have said repeatedly, I give them credit for. Yeah, all their players, and they have the most casual players out of all the boxes between Xbox and PlayStation, because obviously they've sold so many. 75% of people choose performance mode. Okay, so yeah, the casuals do freaking care. The casuals do know the difference between 60 frames, and then Cerny went ahead and showed you the difference, and you could see the jank between 30 frames and 60 frames. So I gotta give them props for killing that freaking narrative, because that pushes the conversation and moves the conversation forward for the console players to start getting options. And now it was made by one of the biggest players in the console space, one of the most popular. That brings light to it. The devs have to take up and sit up and take notice, and can't keep giving us this BS lines that they can't do it, that it's a creative decision. We like the cinematic experience, yada, yada, yada. All the ones that we've gotten, and especially out of Xbox first party, that needs to be thrown in the freaking trash. And going forward, they need to put an emphasis on making sure that early in development, they are working on that 60 frames performance mode. Give us 2 options on console. That's all we've ever asked for. Don't have to give us 3. Don't have to give us 4 like PlayStation is. Give us 2 over on Xbox and let us decide. So I do want to give them credit for doing that. That was a massive W in my book. Overall, again, if this was Xbox, I'd buy it, right? Now that I've played 60 frames, if I had the opportunity, and we'll see. Again, these are specs. This is not real world applications. There's already some stuff going around right now, PTK. I don't know if you've seen it, but the word is on the street that Alan Wake 2 is running 60 frames on the PlayStation 5 Pro, but it's running sub 900.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
So we're gonna find out real world what the devs can do. I don't doubt that the first party is going to be able to do some cool stuff with this for Sony. But how many of the third party devs are going to take advantage of this fully, completely? Because again, we've already seen this generation. They're not taking advantage of all the tools in these things anyways, right? Yeah. Are they just going to look at this new, bigger GPU and go, oh, we can brute force more stuff. We can optimize less on the PS5 Pro, right? And they'll do the bare minimum to get the PS5 Pro tag, but we're not going to see, a great boost. So we got to wait and see. But as a gamer, if I thought that I could get more 60 frames, consistent 60 frame games at a higher quality, right? A bump with PSSR taking over and then, upscaling the res. If I thought that was going to happen, for me, it would be worth it playing on a 4K OLED. For me, it would be worth the price point, even if we're going to include the price point. It would be worth that bump if I was a console-only PlayStation player. Like, if that was my jam, that was my ecosystem, I was staying there because I want day-and-date first-party games, and they're still not doing, consistently day and date on PC yet. So I know I want those games out the gate. So I'm going to remain a console player. I'm not even going to consider a PC. I would do it. I mean, I'm an enthusiast. So I would want the best.
You know what's interesting about everything that you said?
Yeah.
That's all. I agree with you 1,000%, right? As far as, But if you take that and wrap it, and you don't even exist, all those things you said, how would anybody know when the showcase didn't present any of that?
Well, they did, but you'd have to listen to Cerny specifically, and that gets boring after.
And once again, we're running into the same problem. So all I'm saying is that we're back to square one because you didn't give a great representation of all those great things. Now you can go read the blog, you can read the PlayStation blog and get all of that. But from a visual, you didn't give a great visual representation of all those great things you just described, Paul.
No, you didn't, and I agree wholeheartedly.
So I mean,
and again, it was not a good presentation. Again, I just don't think they do it right. They never have, like you said, with the PS4 Pro. It wasn't a great presentation either. It's going to take. This thing's going to be in the wild. You know, the digital foundries, the IGNs, they're all going to get their hands on. Those are the ones that are going to spread the real stuff, right? They're going to spread the good word, right? Keeley will be out here pumping you, telling you how it's worth all the money in the world and that you don't even need a PC anymore because you got a PlayStation 5 now, that his mask is off, and we know for full fact that he's a PlayStation dude through and through no matter what. He can never claim different. So those are the people that are going to spread the good word about this. Cerny was just there to give those of us that are here, that are that interested in it, that watch it. But the masses, no, they're going to wait. They'll see this. They'll see it ramp up. People start talking about whether or not it actually is performing. We'll see new videos, that are definitely not as compressed as the shit that they were showing us at the presentation. And maybe we'll start seeing some bigger differences with some of the other games coming down the road. I'm waiting on Cyberpunk. That's the big one for me. I think they're going to show off Cyberpunk at the supposed state of play, this third-party state of play they might have at the end of this month. Now that they've announced the Pro on schedule, like we thought they were, like the insiders were telling us. So if they have the state of play at the end of the month showing off third-party stuff, I believe Cyberpunk's going to be there. I want to see that side by side.
I wonder how much the mixed energy. Because I thought immediately, because I mean, the show didn't come out to like glowing reviews or anything.
Oh no, it was more
fairly mixed. Yeah, you look at you look at the actual trailer, it's way down. So I thought they would pull the trigger on an announcement for a show immediately, because just out of sheer we need some good shit. We need to build some good energy, and we can change the conversation if we throw out this state of play that's supposed to happen. But the fact that they haven't done, that's pretty typical Sony. The fact that they haven't done that, I guess speaks to me as to like how good, not how good the show is going to be. Like how much should they actually have to show at this state of play, right? Like
it's third party and indies, man. That's what it's going to be again, supposedly. But I mean, I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
I don't know what they're waiting for, bro. I don't know. Because I don't believe they don't have anything. Like, I was shocked Ghost of Tsushima was not teased here at this. Yeah. Just like, oh my God. Like a quick glimpse at what Ghost is going to look like on the PS5 Pro would have done more than everything else combined that Cerny did for 9 fucking minutes, right? If they had just shown Ghost 2 and just showed a glimpse of it, like that would have sold this thing more than anything else he had to say up there or showed off.
And could you imagine if they showed Ghost of Tsushima 2 and say, and on the PS5 Pro, you'll be able to play this at 4K 60
like
frames
lock
per
it
second.
in, like
crazy,
lock it
crazy,
in, like be
crazy,
like we know we've got that locked. Yeah, that would have sold better than anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, facts. So okay, let me throw this over to you, Fuzz. I gotta get your opinion on this, bro. We've heard a lot of things, Fuzz, from both sides of the fence on this, bro. You just heard a great argument from Pong. A lot of great things, but at the end of the day, man, Sony, they seem a bit lost as far as to like where the direction that they're going. And I say this from a consumer standpoint. I'm taking my Xbox hat off, my Xbox shoes, pajamas, and I'm just sitting those aside. I'm just looking at the showcase from the timing, the way they present it. You know, obviously it was met with mixed reviews. So where you at on this, Fuzz? Break it down for me.
All right, so for me, I was looking at it as, are they really going to try and sell me on this? Much like the PSVR 2, they didn't. Looking at the PSVR 2, the biggest draw for me was Gran Turismo 7. But if none of the other games were what I was looking for, to spend that extra $500 just for that, accessory, there was no way they were getting that extra money out of me. Now with this, the PS5 Pro, I kind of expected it to be $700 as well, but I had hoped given that, Xbox seems poised to release their next gen in 2026, I thought Sony would be smart enough to push it back or delay the PS5 Pro or just do away with it and convert that to the PS6 and then just have whatever they have ready, come 2026. Because they really don't need the PS5 Pro at this point in time, even though 75% of their gamers are playing on performance mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where they at least have that performance mode. There's not that much more that they're missing out on. Like, sure, they could claim the power narrative now, but that power narrative, because of the way the devs are prioritizing PlayStation, it didn't really matter. So I can't really see them putting this, other than like a Halo piece, like kind of like a Halo car, or what car companies do, like the Corvette being a Halo car that brings you into the dealership, but chances are you're not driving out of the dealership in one. You'll just drive another Chevy that they offer, kind of thing. But this PS5 Pro at $700 just seems so ridiculous to me. Like $600, I may have considered it. I know I was hard about, I don't want to spend any more than 150 or so more if I trade in my PS5. I would have probably bent the knee a little, considering that they did do the one thing with the PS5 and show GT7, where they now have the ray tracing at 60 in gameplay and not just replay. That would have been enough of a nudge, especially considering that they're probably going to have Ghost of Tsushima and whatever Bend Studios is working on, although I still hear that it might wind up being a games as a service.
Yep.
So
last I heard, that's what it was.
So it just, I think the big drawback for me, or the nail in the coffin for me for not even remotely considering this thing, was the fact that they showed Hogwarts Legacy and it's still 30. Like, I know there's a performance mode, and we joked about it before, where that thing was not locked 60. It's like 55, 60, 62, then 48, and it's kind of all over the place kind of thing. If they could have locked it at 60 on that device, then it would be a little bit more of a, I would say, an improvement over the PS5, to the point where it'd be worth at least some additional funding. But like as it stands right now, I know a lot of people are trying to compare it to 4090, which just boggles my mind. But this thing is, it's going to be for the enthusiasts. I hope they sell at least 10% of them, or 10% of their current base convert over, or sell, roughly like 5 or 6 mil of these. Because the drawback that I see now compared to like the PS4 Pro, they knew that wasn't going to be as big of a mover. It was geared to the enthusiasts as well, but it was at a price point that made a lot of sense in comparison to the original launch console. And if you're trying to get those same type of numbers, they really, I think they priced themselves out of the picture at this point, because people are going to look at things like, let's say, GT6, well, not GT6, but GTA 6. And if that thing is not playing it at 60, although, yeah, it'll probably have higher resolution by a little bit over the Series X, I don't think it's going to have a better frame rate. I just think it'll be like the Series X might be 1800p upscaled to 2160 or 4K, and then this one, the PS5 Pro, will probably hover somewhere between 1900 and 2100 range, or be full 4K for a majority of it, and then down res or scale it back a bit for like if there's a lot of NPCs and things like that. But just a weird showcase, but they've done these, TED Talk type, tech talk type things before. So it's like, it's to be expected. And I would have been happier if they at least said, okay, the showcase is, next week or 2 weeks from now or later this month. Nothing. It's like, I know they got fair game.
That's boggling, man.
Yeah. It's like they got fair game in the pocket right now. I don't know how far along Marathon is, because from what I heard, it went from being an extraction shooter to a hero shooter now. which seems like an even bigger uphill struggle. Yes, I know it's Bungie, but if Concord didn't make it, sure, Bungie will be able to come up with more, interesting characters and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just PlayStation's in a weird spot. I'm glad they have this new hardware. I'm just not buying it unless there's some sort of deep discount at some point, because I'm hearing like the PSVR 2 now is taking a bit of a hit, but it seems like they're cutting ties as far as support. So it's like, yeah, you can buy this dead device or this device that has 20 or 30 games on it now, and you better be happy with everything that's out there for it, because there's no new stuff coming to it, kind of thing. With this PS5 Pro, it's like, I love what they did last gen with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. They didn't convince me that this is as nice of a bump or leap in comparison to the base consoles to make it worthwhile, or even worthwhile at 600, let alone 700.
Yeah.
And it just feels like Sony is on this greed tear, because they just bumped up the price on the controllers as well. So it's like, are we going to see games specifically at 75, or is it going to be a $10 or $15 upcharge for the PS5 Pro
version
enhancements
of the game?
and stuff? So,
what's interesting too, and I know we've all mentioned this. Well, I think we've all mentioned it at some point too. It just seems like they're putting a horse. It just seems so uncharacteristic of Sony. Like, they don't have the games are not there. You're selling me a car with no tires on it. Like, there's just that's so unlike Sony. That's what's like striking to me about all of this, is that you do this. Not only you did, the showcase did not hit from a presentation standpoint. I think we all can agree, even if you're objective, a presentation, the thing that's supposed to sell me on this was not good. Right? You didn't really give me a reason to you didn't give me a good reason, or clear reason at least, as to why I need to buy this. And then the price is already outrageous. You already know that's an uphill climb already, irregardless of everything else, regardless of what you're putting in a box. You didn't nail that either. Then you don't even have the games line up to support any, the games probably would even if you missed on the other two, the games would probably would have held it up on its own. Just the fact that, okay, we know the games are going to be there. Everything else could be worked out. I'll find the money to buy this thing because I know the games are going to be there. You didn't do any of that.
So, the games issue, it's like they're on two different things. Like they have a hardware team and then they have the games and teams and stuff like that, right? And it's like there's been turmoil behind the scenes in the gaming and the game side, while the hardware teams on track and doing everything that they have been planning since the earlier this generation, while they're trying to figure out their actual roadmap and pipeline. And so I think you have this, that's why we're having this kind of like disconnect where it's like the games aren't there, but the hardware is, so I think.
Well, there's games, and I want to clean that up too, Matt, before you continue. There's games. The first party stuff is a bit troubling.
The big first party
stuff, yeah.
You look at roadmaps of looking forward, they just haven't announced a lot of the big first party games yet, So it's just weird for PlayStation, where you would normally from them know about them like a long time in advance, right?
I think that's my point,
But on the price side, because I wanted to touch on the price too, because I was following instructions, Pong and Fuzzy, and only discussed the presentation. But you guys both already talked about the price, so I'm going to talk
Pong,
about the price.
Listen, Pong is mutiny all day. That doesn't. Pong's not. He can't really box.
Listen, normally I follow through. Wait. Normally I follow through, and we've got other people here that don't follow through on the question. However, this is such a big topic because there's so many different ways to go about it, and you covered it pretty much as far as the presentation goes. So I didn't have much different to say from you. So I went off on my full tangent tonight. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right. I'll forgive you, Pong. And Fuzz.
I hope so, because this isn't your damn show.
Yeah.
You're a guest here.
That's
brother.
right.
As long as I get your feet off my couch.
Yeah, that's why I follow instructions from the host.
You have to, because you are a guest. I'm not. I'm family. I can do what the hell I want.
I'm just messing with you, man. So yeah, as far as the price goes, like I'm not as surprised. We've been speculating on that for a while now because like the price of current gen has stayed the same or gone up, right? So if they were to announce newer hardware, it was going to be more expensive. And I think because we had speculated on this like a
while ago,
a couple weeks ago, at least on one of our shows, and somebody brought up 2 terabyte, and it was like, okay, well, it's 2 terabyte, then it's going to be
that's
more.
100.
You know, that's because those SSDs are expensive. You know, so that brought up the conversation of 700 possibly plus if it was 2 terabyte. You know, so that doesn't surprise me, but I think overall, like it would have been better received if they had if it was just a disk version with like a 1 terabyte hard drive that they were able to get out there for 600 to 650, right? And then you would have had less people overreacting. But now you have a lot of the physical owners saying, oh, I got to get this. Plus, I also got to get the disk drive now because I have a lot of games on disk, right? So for me, like overall, the price is like, they're just trying to push people into digital. And that's why it's more expensive because their hard drive is expensive as shit, right? Overall, that doesn't surprise me, and it's what I expect next gen consoles to probably be around, if not maybe even a little bit more or slightly less, so around that mark probably. But I think they'll have like multiple options still. But you look at the price, and that doesn't necessarily justify the presentation. But like Pong said, if we just kind of know how it is and what the power that's there that they're giving the developers and the way that the developers utilize optimization, they're going to optimize first for the traditional PS5, and then they'll have leftover room to make the games a little bit better on the PS5 Pro, right? That's just kind of how I look at it. So if I'm an enthusiast consumer that just wants to play the best version of my games, and I'm all in on PlayStation, and every third-party game I buy is PlayStation, and I buy all the first-party games, and I just invested in that ecosystem.
Yeah, it's a good option.
And then I'm like looking at it, and I would probably be like, okay, well, maybe I'd have to make that decision on how much I care about those benefits or not. And for me as a consumer, I do care, right? Even if it's even marginal, because I'm a sucker, and I like to play my games the best way possible. And if I want to play on console, then it's something I would probably end up getting, right? So if Xbox had this same thing, 100% I would be there day one, right? Because I know the roadmap, I know the pipeline, I know all the games coming into Game Pass and all the third-party games that I buy on Xbox.
That helps make the decision a little bit better.
It's just I want to play my games the best way possible, and if they run even smoother or have a little bit better fidelity and whatever, that's enough for me to justify because of the amount of time I spend playing games, right? But it's just going to be up to a personal decision for the individual. But yeah, presentation, they did a horrible job of showing it, of those benefits to the people that aren't really sold on that already.
We know what's in and we know what the metal is, so it's not a decision for it. We're not even factoring that in when we're looking at this. You know what I mean?
And it could be like games that they're just struggling to hit 60. Like they have a few of those that are third-party games, like Final Fantasy 16 had trouble with 60 frames, right? Or you had like Hogwarts Legacy, they showed running at 30 because they wanted to show the shadows and the ray tracing, all that crap, right? But like maybe it'll have a better performance mode because the performance mode on Hogwarts Legacy isn't that good, right? Game like Jedi Survivor, right? Maybe they're able to take advantage of that and actually have a good performance mode option as well. So like when I look forward to the games that are releasing and the examples if we have of those kind of games that could benefit from it, those are the ones that would be like, okay, that justifies it in my mind. To get the better experience closer to what you would have on a mid-tier PC, right? As opposed to having to pay $2,000 for a high-end PC or leave the console space, right? Because I think console gamers are not just going to all of a sudden go out and decide, hey, I don't like sitting on my couch anymore. I don't like sitting in front of my TV anymore. I don't like hanging out where I hang out all the time anymore. A lot of people play on console just because of the situation. That's how they prefer to play, and like plug it into the TV and they don't got to worry about, setting stuff up and getting this kind of mid-tier rig and putting it behind the TV and having a PC running all the time and all that kind of crap. It's just not that practical really. Right. So a higher end console is practical for the customers that are willing to spend the money on it. And I think they need to do a better job showcasing forward the benefits to help it a little bit. But there's going to be a market for it. I don't think it's a huge market because of the price, but you'll have it being utilized for marketing a lot by PlayStation.
Absolutely.
They'll have all those digital foundry things and stuff, and it just kind of helps the PlayStation brand in that way. But overall, right now, they're taking a hit because the presentation sucked.
Yeah.
Right?
I can see that short term. Fact. So perspective is always a good thing, and that's what we like to do here at the Shop Podcast. So, man, I'm glad we got that one out of the way. That was obviously the biggest news. Shout out to everybody that came through. Luke, everybody, Taylor, some familiar faces, Cyber, I see you. Shout out to everybody in chat. Appreciate you guys. Hit the like button on your way in. Appreciate you all, man. So we rolling this thing over, man. Talk a little bit about Xbox, man. We have another upcoming showcase, and this is one that kind of snuck up on me a little bit. I want to talk about Xbox at TGS. That's obviously upcoming. I believe it is the 26th of September. Let me just confirm here. Yeah. So September 26th, Xbox is going to have a presence there. PlayStation is going to be there for the first time in a long time too. So, you know, we're looking at, we just, ironically, man, we just talked about them not having a whole lot, you know, question marks about the state of play, right? Third party indie game state of play. Is it really going to be that? Their presence at TGS is huge. They may have some big announcements there too, PlayStation. So Xbox being there though is awesome because we've talked about this. There's some big games that come out this year, and a lot of them come from that area over there, that side of the world, man. Right? So it is important that Xbox has a presence there, right? They've done a phenomenal job. I don't want to undersell what they've done. They've done a great job over there by just getting games on Xbox, just getting them in the door. A lot of games, a lot of franchises we missed out on for years have now actually shown up in the ecosystem. So that's important. But there's a lot more they could be doing. We've seen it, man. We've seen examples, right? Like we've seen tons, you know, Black Myth Wukong. There's a lot of examples out there. Yeah. But they've made some strides. So I don't know what your expectations are for TGS, man. What do you want to see from? What do you really want to see from Xbox at TGS? What kind of effort? How much effort do you? And this, I want to add something in there. They've pretty much nailed every show they've been at. They've had a large presence at all the shows that they've attended. Obviously the showcase, Gamescom was a big show for them. So, if that trend continues, what could we see?
I think you're going to see some of their partners that they've been working with more, like Sega, maybe some more from Atlas. You have Square Enix has been the big one that everybody's talking about with them, and because of Jez's track record on things, and he's been kind of reporting on this, I expect a couple announcements from Square, and that's going to be probably the biggest news that comes out from it about some of the games that may end up going into Xbox or even Game Pass potentially. But like overall, I think they're going to have a good news cycle at Tokyo Game Show. I also want to see more Metaphor and other games that they kind of have marketing deals with, right? Kind of really prop those games up, especially over on those shows, because they're going to get a lot more attention in the East that are going to pay attention to TGS and stuff. So overall, I think it's going to be a slam dunk kind of thing for them, where they continue to improve and strengthen the relationships that they have. Things like Black Myth Wukong and stuff like that, they got to get the relationships there, so they don't allow deals like the backdoor deals like Sony likes to make and stuff from happening. Like they need to be in front of those conversations, because those things are kind of brand killers, right? The biggest games of the year, if they miss your platform at launch for whatever reason, and then it's quiet and secret and nobody knows why, and there's all this speculation, and then it leads people to start randomly blaming the Series S for no reason and stuff like that, and then you find out, oh, this is actually a contract that they have with Sony, and they not to put the game on Xbox yet, or whatever kind of deal it is. Like there's stuff like that they gotta continue to strengthen those relationships and get the boots on the ground over in those territories to make those relationships happen and not allow that kind of stuff, right? So I think shows like this are going to be important for that. Ultimately, I think we're going to get a couple Sega announcements, because those are a couple of blank slates on their like things to look forward to, right? So maybe a couple of cool stuff from them, and they'll probably be marketed or shown around Xbox, because Sega and Xbox's relationship is really good. So I think you'll have.
You think any new games? And
from Sega, yeah, you have a couple. Yeah, I think so. Maybe 2. Like, what? How many? Was
There's 3
on the 3
There's
games?
3. There's 3
Yeah.
unannounced that they're going to announce at TGS. Yes.
Yeah. So
that
it's,
Sega's going to announce, or
Yeah, Sega
okay.
Atlas. Yep. Yep.
Sega and or Atlas, right? So it's not all from Atlas. It's all so it can be from Sega or Atlas. I know Atlas is owned by Sega. But.
Well, keep in mind PlayStation showing up this year too.
Yeah.
So,
but
I mean,
so like let's go into like this aspect of exciting news coming from those brands, right? Like,
yeah,
this is something that's happened this generation that hasn't gotten enough attention.
That's a good point.
Is that Xbox is now
competing their ass off
with the game publishers, the big ones in the East that used to be default exclusives last generation on PS4, right? You have games, you have like the Yakuza series, right? You have the Persona series, you know, you have Dragon Quest,
Monster Hunter,
Monster Hunter, you have these different big franchises and games from these publishers that have traditionally just defaulted to PlayStation, that they're exclusives, maybe some deals.
Hell, even Nintendo.
Not. But like all those big ones, for the most part, besides the Square Enix, have fallen for PlayStation now, and they have done mostly multiplats for those big companies. Sega, especially with Atlas, and you have Capcom and stuff like that, and they're doing a lot of marketing with Xbox, right? A lot of these companies are, and Square's the next domino to fall, you know. But that takes away instead now what you're seeing is like companies like Bandai Namco might do like, or Koei Tecmo or different might do some kind of like exclusive deal or Game Pass deal here and there. But overall, like the majority of those bigger JRPGs or even the AA or middle tier JRPGs are no longer the big PlayStation identity. Now they're just everywhere, you know, and a lot was paid attention to that last gen because Xbox was missing those games. But now, and it's not just Xbox not missing them, but PlayStation no longer has marketing on most of those.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Even Visions of Mana, which was like something that like the Mana series has always been synonymous with like PlayStation is like was marketed by Xbox, showed up at their developer direct. You know, Metaphor is another example, right? This is the next big IP coming from Atlas. Before we didn't even have Atlas games on Xbox. So now they're partnering with Xbox to launch their next big IP. Like, this is a huge shift in what's going on with the aggressiveness from Xbox into the East, where they're trying to make those plays. And that has an effect overall on that default PlayStation identity of having these games that are only there. So and you're going to see that at TGS. PlayStation might have a couple, right? Like they did, like what's the one like Rise of the Ronin, right? Something like that, or
well, they got the China project, right? The China project locks in 5 games, right? So they do have a lot, and
they got a lot.
Again, even though it's Tokyo Game Show, obviously
there's
there'll be
other
Chinese
developers,
games, there'll be Koreans, all those, everybody will be there. So they'll probably show off some more Chinese
like
games,
Phantom Blade Zero and stuff like that.
Yep, that's part of that China project.
Then you have, but Xbox will have also like the Fallen Feathers game. I forget the name of that as well.
The no more hero. What is that? No more heroes, but
it's something that starts with a W.
Something like
Wu Fang,
Wu-Chan or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, that game looked really cool too. So you'll have some deals like that where you have like, okay, we're working with these other partner or whatever, but like the big ones are no longer doing that.
Shout out to Spartan for the 5 gifted. Appreciate you, brother. Memberships, man. Thank you, Spartan, man. 661 coming through, man. Thank you, brother. Go
choo
ahead,
choo,
man.
motherfuckers. Choo choo.
Choo choo choo.
But go ahead, man. I don't want to cut you off, brother.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Shout out to Spartan 661.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, man. So let me throw this over to you, Fuzz, man. I got to get your opinion on this, man. Obviously, Xbox, we've talked about this for a very long time, making waves over there. We've seen the biggest games this year, Black Myth Wukong, Power World, right? The biggest games this year are coming out of that that region. So obviously it's very important that they're there, very important that they have a big presence there. They've done a lot over there, right? We just talked about PlayStation, that Project China, 5 games locked in, all of them look good. Like what you're expecting at TGS. Now, I was just saying, if they've had a big presence at every event that they've done this year. They made it a point to have a big presence at the Summer Game Fest. They had a few things there, whereas before they didn't give Jeff anything last year. They barely had any Xbox announcements. I think they may have one, probably like Sea of Thieves or something last year. That was it. So this year they've had a huge Gamescom was their biggest event ever. If that trend continues, what are you expecting from them at TGS?
Ooh, what I would like to see, and these are probably pie in the sky. Like maybe Persona 6 gets announced on their stage. They do have a good partnership with Sega and Atlas at this point, so maybe that's where it gets announced. And it's not that it will be an Xbox Game Pass day and date, although that would be lovely. But I think showing the support for the Xbox platform, I think that would be huge for Xbox in that region. I'm also kind of wondering, and I'm still of the belief that Kojima's game OD should be ready before Death Stranding 2. I'm probably wrong on this, but I would like to see some more on OD.
That game he's working with Jordan Peele.
Yeah, because I'm under the impression that they're gonna go ahead and have maybe the first series with Jordan, and it'll wind up being, maybe a 10 to 20 hour experience kind of thing, but they'll have other chapters or other episodes come later, kind of deal with other directors and producers and things that he's working with. So I'm kind of the notion that maybe that's one of those that gets a little bit more airtime, gets shown. I know it would probably be bigger to do so at Keeley's, but for his hometown, he's still, the prodigy son for that region. So I would say having OD on the Xbox stage there would be huge for Xbox. And then I kind of expect at least 2 to 3 games that we've never seen, never heard of before, that they've been partnered with, because remember all the trips that Phil and Sarah have been making to and from to that region. I would expect to see at least 2, if not 3, surprise titles. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Oh, and of course Square. I'm with the exception of maybe Final Fantasy VII, which I still think that might wait until the third part's released. Whatever that might be, whether it's Final Fantasy VII Reunion or whatever, some RE something, whatever that case is, I think that's when we get it on Xbox. But I'm pretty sure we'll hear something about Final Fantasy 16 and some other, Square titles, which who knows, maybe we get Foam Stars. Yay. But other than that, I'm keeping my expectations low. Like I said, the Persona 6 is pie in the sky, but it stands a good chance. As far as OD would be nice, but it's not a have to have. I'm kind of already sold on at least trying that game, or playing it as soon as it's in Game Pass kind of thing. So that's a given. But just figure that they'll surprise us with at least a couple of games we've already seen, and then 2 new ones, or at least 2 new ones that new developers that they're working with, that they've partnered up with the multiple trips, and go from there.
I'd love to see that too. Same. So I just think that they're going to continue the trend. I think that Tina is locked in right now, and I think she has them understanding how important these showcases are, and how well, like every showcase that they've done or been a huge part of, they've looked favorable this year. From their own personal showcase, the Developer Direct was great. That got favorable, I don't say reviews or whatever, but it did what it was supposed to. Their showcase, obviously probably the best one they've ever done. Then you go into Gamescom, the biggest presence they've had at Gamescom, great showing for them there. You roll right into TGS and you do the same thing, right? So I think naturally that's just what you need to continue to do. So I agree, 2-3 new games would be great. New developers, I don't care how big or small they are. That's the great thing about the Eastern developers, that we don't tend to scrutinize them depending on how big they are.
Right.
We do that to a lot of the Western devs. Oh, look at the little small, dev that makes games in Delaware. Like, we don't care about that dev, but some 10 team dev in some part of China is like, oh my God, look at this game, So at the end of the day, I do think they're going to have a big presence. I do think it's important. I think they're locked into these events. They know how important they are. Same thing with the VGAs. I think the VGA is going to be a blowout for them too, whether it's the handheld. I know Sarah said something about some hardware stuff in the fall or winter. So, we'll see what that does. But Pong, I got to throw this over to you, brother.
Well, I mean, the big thing to remember in all of this is that just a couple of months ago, it didn't sound like they were going to be there very much. At all.
That's the crazy
thing.
So
something changed. Something changed, right? They were still a partner of TGS. They were still on the list of partners for TGS, but all the word from everybody was, yeah, Xbox. They're gonna have a low key TGS. They're not really gonna be there. There's not a lot for them to talk about at this TGS. They're just not gonna have a presence like they've had for the past 2-3 years that we've been covering this, and then all of a sudden it's full bore. And something changed. Something massive happened behind the scenes. And personally, my guess has been from the beginning that Square bringing the whole slate and that's what they're going to announce here, that the whole slate is coming to Xbox. And that's going to include the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I didn't think was going to happen, at least for a long, long time. But if that rumor plays out to be true, and they're going to announce that 16 is ready to rock and roll, potentially day one with the PC release on Xbox, and then they're just going to turn around and back that up by saying, and by the way, we are currently working on Final Fantasy VII Remake to bring that trilogy to Xbox, and the third one will be released. The third game will be released day and date on Xbox alongside all the other platforms. That's massive, okay? And that would bring Xbox to this show to have a presence, because they're going to have a lot more to talk about at that point. I think that Sega as well could be a part of this because of those 3 unannounced titles. I think Fuzzy is spot on with Persona 6. This has been another one of my guesses for a long time. Just last year, we still had a group of people who were trying to claim that there's no way Persona 6 is going to come to Xbox day and date, even though we've seen this great relationship blow up and them develop an entire fan base around Persona on Xbox by putting all the games into Game Pass and giving everybody a chance to show and tell why they're so great. And now they have a dedicated Persona fan base on Xbox. I don't know why that still was a thing. That was a hope and a wish and a prayer from some of the biggest fanboys out there that Persona 6 still would be on Sony first. It's coming everywhere, day and date. Sega and Atlas have both proven that they're on board with this. And yes, there's no reason to believe that they won't show up on Xbox stage or be there at least to announce that it's coming everywhere and give the official tease for Persona 6 at this TGS. I think that's one of their unannounced games for sure. So these are massive announcements for Xbox. These are going to be big W's. Yes, the games are coming everywhere, but the Square stuff especially, I said that was going to happen. Not the Final Fantasy VII. Again, I thought that was maybe really far down the road. I thought maybe Sony had locked it up permanently, but this is something I guess Square was going to be at Xbox's showcase this year, right? Before we, obviously saw the showcase and found out it was just basically pretty much all first party with a couple third parties thrown in there, but they didn't have that Eastern section that they've had for the previous showcases. So since they didn't have that Eastern section, it is all about TGS. And I said that Square was going to be at Xbox's showcase to solidify the fact that they are real, that this is happening, that they are now have a new man in charge. He shook Phil's hand, and it's not just all talk, but the whole slate is coming. And I thought that Final Fantasy 16 was the most obvious out of the group, right? And then potentially, as Mav and I have been clamoring for, that the rumors and the smoke is, Final Fantasy Tactics Remake is also happening, and that is going to now be everywhere including Xbox, which is going to be huge. And we're supposedly getting the Pixel remasters as well. So I think that's really what prompted Xbox to show up, and probably, they probably had to wake Tina Amini and her team up and say, hey, normally we prep something big in advance, but a long time in advance, but you guys got a few weeks to put something together. So, because we're going to be there now, like this is happening, like, because there's no way you have Square make a big announcement like that and have Sega up there announcing Persona 6 and coming to Xbox as well, day and date with all the other platforms, and not be there in some way, shape, or form. So I think that is definitely happening. And then obviously some of the stuff that Fuzzy was just talking about, Mav talked about, they have continued to work over there. It's weird because it hasn't happened all at once. Like, we haven't seen all the fruit bear at one time. But as we looked at things for the past couple years and we've seen stuff start rolling, they really have opened up a lot of doors over there that were permanently closed to them. And I think that each time they come back there, they're going to have something to show. I hope this time it does include some more Korean stuff, some more China stuff, because I've been pounding the table. I'll continue to pound the table
for years.
That talent it's crazy, man. These small teams over there putting up AAA like games, like it's nuts, man. So I hope they've got a couple of those up their sleeves, because obviously Sony did sign that China project deal with those 5 different games. I'd love to see them be able to come out and announce something like that, like a 3-project game with a bunch of Korean devs or something, unknown Korean devs or whatever the case may be. But maybe that's asking too much. But I think they will have a couple of unknown games here as well, a couple surprises with partnerships that they've been working on. So yeah, I think this is going to be a full-fledged normal TGS now for them, which has been a pretty big presence. Phil, led off the TGS 2 years ago. He was the first speaker at TGS that kind of started the whole show off. I don't think that's happening this year, but I do think that they're going to have a presence, obviously, and they are going to have some surprises for us. But the Square full lineup, I think, is going to be the big draw, and solidify everything that's been going on. So that'll be huge.
Yeah, that'll be massive for them. So we can't understate that. So I just kind of piggyback off of everything what you guys have all said already. One thing I want to highlight too is there's still so much more work to be done over there, right? That's the cool part about this, is that the one drawback is that, yes, they don't have a foothold on that territory, right? Traditionally, Pong, right? They don't have much of a presence, but that also means there's room for growth, right? So, it's cool that they are making these relationships. And when you do in hindsight look back, Fuzz or Pong, the cool thing is that they really have made a lot of progress. Just 5-6 years ago, they were like, it was dormant. Like, I would even say maybe just Xbox One generation, I would say. They was fairly dormant over there. They didn't have a whole lot of motion, and all of a sudden you seeing big games come over. You know what I mean? Like you said, the Personas. You know what I mean? Like I said, the Monster Hunters. Those have been in Game Pass forever now. Like, all these different deals are happening. So I think that trend continues, brother. I'm 1,000% with you. I do think they have a couple things. Now, the games being big or small, I could care less, but I do think they have some things that we haven't seen. I love for them to have, like you said, some kind of initiative or announce something like that. That would be cool too. But I do want to ask as well too, just for the event's sake, since I always do, what would be your, I think, Fuzz brought it up, kind of a pie in the sky for TGS, if you have one, Mav?
Pie in the sky. Okay, this is a pie in the sky. And I don't know, Pong, and you might already know where I'm going to go with this. Square Enix and Xbox team, whoever's going to be representing over there for Xbox, stand together and make another presentation about their partnership, kind of like they did last year, and say, but now we actually have some more exciting news. Besides, it's been going so well with Final Fantasy 14 online on Xbox, and Square's really happy with us, and we're really happy with them, but we're ready to announce some new games coming to Xbox that maybe you've only been able to play elsewhere. first off, we're going to announce Final Fantasy 16 is coming to Xbox on blah, blah, blah day. And it's coming to Game Pass day one on Xbox. Then we have Final Fantasy Remake. Part 1 is coming to Xbox, with part 2 coming next year, maybe, or some kind of BS like that, whatever. And then here's where my pie in the sky actually comes in, because the other stuff could be more feasible. They say, and we also have a new game to announce, a game that we know that there's one content creator out there named Mav from Fun Speculation is going to go ape shit here, and this is specifically for him. And they say Final Fantasy Tactics will be coming later this year, and it's on Xbox day and date, coming to Game Pass day and date. And I might actually like burst into flames if that kind of announcement would happen. Yeah, that's my pie in the sky.
I love it,
but it's not it's not unreasonable, because tactics genre, even as much loved as Final Fantasy Tactics is by the community, there is still, it's not as mainstream as like a traditional Final Fantasy game or whatever, right? So they also are trying to grow the audience for the brand on Xbox. This is a game that was in the NVIDIA leaks before, with other games like Ogre Tactics that ended up releasing on PlayStation exclusively, and there's tons of other games in those NVIDIA leaks before. And this is the one that I noticed that was part of the leaks list that has not come out yet. Also, I believe it was Schreier or somebody had come out also and said they are working on Final Fantasy Tactics at some point as well. So the game is in the works. I believe they just have not announced it yet. And when they announce it, I'm hoping it's not part of the exclusivity deals they had already made with PlayStation that they have to uphold, right? Maybe that those bridges have burned with the new leadership at Square, and this is multi-plat day one. But if it is multi-plat day one, Square still likes to get their cash. Square still likes to have their safe bets. Square still likes that insurance money, and they're trying to grow their brands on Xbox. So it would not surprise me if you had some kind of a day and date Game Pass deal for that, if it does come to Xbox day one.
I like that. Phone. Pie in the sky.
Pie in the sky for Xbox?
Yeah, man.
Man, well, I mean, obviously the easy one is acquisition season starts up again. And they finally make the Eastern acquisition, right? That would be the easy one, whether it's, Sega, or whether it's Square, or somebody else, that they make that acquisition there and they seal the deal. And that's why they're now showing up at TGS, right? All this other talk was BS, but they got the deal done and they're going to be there because it's getting announced. Honestly, for me, I think I've made it clear. I would love, I just said it, but my pie in the sky is that they make these deals with the Korean and the Chinese developers over there that are doing some really freaking incredible work. I would love to see at TGS a release date for Crimson Desert, and then it's coming to Game Pass day and date on Xbox. They've got a great relationship with Pearl Abyss. And they've done a lot of work with Black Desert Online on Xbox, and they've offered benefits through Game Pass Ultimate, etc. So they've got a great relationship. And if anybody has not been paying attention this week, Crimson Desert's ramping up. They are ramping up.
A lot of footage.
They dropped 50 minutes to IGN. Okay,
look crazy.
50 minutes, bro. For people who don't know, it's not an MMO. Yes, that's what they're known for Black Desert. Steel has nearly 1,500 hours in Black Desert Online, okay? I played like 80 hours or 100 hours of it. This is a single-player RPG through and through with a full-fledged story, everything that you come to expect on an RPG. Go watch the video clips. Even if you don't want to watch the IGN one, go watch the video clips that their X account has been posting all week. It is going to be the next big thing. So I would love to hear that they have cut a deal with Pearl Abyss for their games to come to Game Pass, and the first one's going to be Crimson Desert, and then I'd love to see an update on Dokkan 5, Dokkan V, whatever you want to say, that fun game that we all flipped out over about 3 years ago and haven't seen anything since, and that would be a part of the deal too. That's going to be Game Pass day and date. We get an update on that. But my pie in the sky is that they cut some more deals with the Chinese developers and the Korean developers, and they do have one of their own little package of projects like Sony announced with the China project. I would love to see that come out from over there because again, the talent is unbelievable over there what they're doing. And I don't know what it is, but they understand, and we've got hit after hit coming out from over there, and Xbox has to get on board with this train. They've done a good job. They pulled out Liza P. Like, they've found some really gold nuggets, right? They've done a nice job. But let's solidify that. Let's lock it in and get a group of games from over there and call it your own Chinese project or China project or whatever, just for Xbox, because that's where a lot of people are looking right now. And it's not the JRPGs anymore, folks. These are action games. And no, they don't all have to be Souls-like, right? First Descendant is not Souls-like, right? They just know what they're doing over there, man. So let's get some of those for Xbox for sure.
I agree. I guess that would be my pie in the sky. I'm like right in line with you. New IP, a queue, a handful, 2, 3, 4. I don't care necessarily how big or small that they are. I just like new IP, especially from those type of developers, and they've been cooking all year. So we know the talent over there. I'm super hyped for a lot of the games that are coming out. They got a few already. We talked about, was it the Kazan, right? That was one. You got the other one was with the girl that had the like glowing eyes. She was fighting that little bat looking thing with the mouth on the face or whatever. That game, maybe we'll see more about those games there too as well. But just there's just so much talent over there, man. There's so many ideas and things that they do differently from the devs, Western developers. Not that they do it necessarily better. They do things better traditionally, but I just love the talent and the eye for like their eye for design, and style.
Eye for beauty. Yeah.
Here you go. But yeah. All right. But no, it's either way. We all different. But either way, that's would be my pie in the sky too. But I'm right with you, Pong. I'm not a big like. The Square stuff makes a whole lot of sense right now. The Sega stuff makes sense. So but yeah, I just the small. Who is this? What game is this? Right. What is that? Ooh, right. Whoa, the combat. Ooh, what is it? You know what I mean? That's what I look forward to, right?
Before something unique like that's like, oh wow, what is
this? Yeah. Yep. Maybe Dokkan V pops up again. Anyway,
Dokkan V is freaking amazing.
Dokkan V, right? I can't wait. I'd love to see that. That'd be crazy. Anyway, Fuzz, we got to get you in here too, man. Pie in the sky for TGS.
This is going to probably sound like a weird one, but
oh no, definitely not.
It's going to be a toss up between Sega. Well, not a Sega acquisition, although that would be awesome. But on Xbox's stage, announcing Virtual Fighter, a new Virtual Fighter being released. Or, and this one's probably more strange because it would lean into more arcadey racing as opposed to kind of like the Simcade kind of stuff that Horizon is kind of along the lines of, more so than full-on arcade. Have Sega team up with Playground for Forza Horizon 6 in Japan for the map. And it's pretty much, I wouldn't say a 1-to-1 of Tokyo, but pretty close to a 1-to-1 of Tokyo for next gen consoles only, or for current gen, I should say. And then it would probably have a cross gen update type of deal, but have them partner with Sega for some of the licensing and areas and some of the modes for it, so you can do something like an outrun on the highways, and it's not just like the normal festival stuff they have, like the Midnight Club type street racing thing. But that's pie in the sky, highly unlikely, but I can only dream.
No, that's super dope idea. I would have never thought of that, I swear. So that's really, really cool too. And that's something that, people, especially the Horizon community has been asking for forever was, a Japan, a Horizon game based in Japan. It's a perfect opportunity to do that, right? Man, great conversation, guys. I think we might turn this over to chat. And we're going to go ahead and grab some questions. We actually haven't done this in a while. You know, we finished up the topics a little early. You guys are cooking in chat. Appreciate all of you. HNS, hit the like button. Talos, Andrew, everybody hanging out with us. You guys are freaking rock stars. So I appreciate all of you. We're RWK88. But yeah, go ahead and throw us some questions, man. We'll answer anything you guys throw in the chat. Once again, just drop them in there right now. But Pong, what I missed, man. I know we were talking about some games we've been playing at the beginning of the show too. I always like to get into that too, because I love just to get into the current shit people are rocking with, right? So like anything immediately coming up, you looking forward to, like in the next 30 days?
Well, next week is Frostpunk 2.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm back on Frostpunk again, kind of get back into the swing of things. I haven't played it for a long time. I did play it on Xbox on the console. But obviously Frostpunk 2 is not coming to console day and date. So it's going to be on PC first. It's going to be in PC Game Pass next week. So I bought it, picked it up cheap on PC, and I've fired that baby up. But that game is, again, tough. I was telling you, PTK, in the background.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot how tough and brutal that game was. I kind of remembered, but then I got back into it again. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to make some really tough decisions. I'm on day 5 of my colony, and I already had to put the kids to work. I had to sign into law of child labor because we ran out of workers. Like, this game is no joke, man. And it feels brutal because you're fighting the elements nonstop. And so it is something that is different from a lot of strategy games. So I'm looking forward to Frostpunk 2 next week on PC Game Pass. That is definitely on my list. I will have that downloaded and I'll be rocking on that. I'll probably talk about it next Saturday night here on the Shop Podcast next weekend for sure.
All right, Mav, anything you looking forward to in the next 30 days, brother?
Shattered Space, Starfield.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, that's a big one. I mean, I could look down the list. I mean, there's even more than that, but it's gonna be relentless, man.
Oh, it's gonna
right now.
Go ahead.
Yeah, right now I'm like playing between Dark Tide and trying to find time to play Outlaws and NBA 2K and Madden and Age of Mythology, and like it's just there's.
You're not playing Dark Tide. You're playing Space Marine 2.
No, sorry, I always say Dark Tide. I don't know why I always say Dark Tide. Space Marine 2. Yeah,
I didn't even catch that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, for some reason whenever I talk about that game, I always say Dark Tide. But yeah, Space Marine 2. But yeah, I'm just really into everything I'm playing right now. So it's kind of like, oh, like, can things wait a little bit for me to catch it too? So that way I can kind of savor and finish some of these things or get more time out of it, because I know the day that Shattered Space is going to launch is going to be absolutely everybody that I know here is going to probably be playing it. You know, like it's going to be the big thing. And then I forget when it is. Flight Sim isn't until later this year, right?
I think so. I don't remember exactly when it drops.
20th.
Yeah, remember we talked about this is November. Yeah,
November. Okay,
November 18th. Fuzz, I think I want to say.
Yeah,
because
between like the 18th and 20th or something, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
I need to do a better job remembering the release dates. I always like scramble
because
with
Assassin's Creed is launching that same week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. So
there's like probably like 8 games that I'm super excited about coming out this year.
That's crazy,
still,
man. Golden Age, baby, man.
Yeah, I mean, we got Dragon Age on the
that
31st.
That's gonna be so good, man. I actually think it's gonna like, people are gonna be surprised at how good that game actually is. There might be some things that people get hung up on, but I think overall that game's gonna be a lot better. You know, I know people are down on BioWare. That's really what it is, and they got to prove themselves to a lot of people. But I think that game's actually shown extremely well from everything I've seen. I'm a big watcher. I mean, at least from what I've seen. You know, I know. You know,
I'm just giving you a hard time, PT.
Yeah, hey,
I'm not interested. So
it's
gonna be fun to watch how it comes out. Like I said, I want them to hit with that because that'll mean good things for Mass Effect. Which I'm excited for. Right. So I need BioWare to prove it to me. But man,
I think there's a chance it could be great, but still not be for you. You know what I mean? Like.
With
for
some
sure. Of the changes that they made,
and there's a massive chance that it comes out and it disappoints everybody, and everybody goes, "Oh shit!" We got caught up in the visuals. It looks great, but nothing else hits.
And then the other one that's actually It's like I think 10 days away is Ara. History Untold. PC Game Pass.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's going to be massive too. Yeah, strategy
yeah,
games are all the rage right now. Jesus.
And I never get really into the 4X strategy as much, but this one looks really intriguing.
Yep.
It looks really kind of like my style that's fused into that genre. So that one has really got my attention. So I'll be getting that and trying that out day one.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm picking up Lollipop Chainsaw, the repop next week when I get paid. So I got to go back and play that one as an old school fan. So there's games everywhere, bro. There's literally games everywhere. It's so insane right now.
I love it. Fuzz, what you looking forward to, Fuzz, before we get into these questions from chat?
Assassin's Creed, definitely. What is that? November, along with Flight Sim, Shattered Space as well. Looking forward to some interesting news from PlayStation as far as when God of War Ragnarok is coming to PC. I'm under the impression it's supposed to be before the end of this month or something. And I'm not as concerned about Ragnarok. I'm more, not concerned, but more looking forward to what's supposed to be the next game from whatever leak list from a couple of years ago.
I think it's the 19th, Buzz. 19th of this month.
Perfect. So the game that is rumored from PlayStation next to come to PC is going to be GT7. So I'm hoping that holds true. So if that does, although it probably won't be until early next year, looking forward to that. But there's also supposed to be some sort of GT7 free version. I don't know if that's going to be a PS Plus thing or if it's going to be the PC version or what, but there's some rumors about a My Gran Turismo or something, which seems like it's going to be like a free-to-play deal. We'll see what that is. But other than that, it's just a ton of games that I'm hoping I can finish up some of my backlog before I get to. Like, that's why I'm kind of burning through some of the titles that are in Game Pass now, like Mafia, and I need to hit, what do you call it? What is it? Not Paradise Island. What is it called? The other zombie game that was part 2 that took 10 years.
Dead Island?
Oh, Dead Island?
Yeah. So I definitely want to, get through that before Shattered Space comes out later this month. But Shattered Space is the big one. Took a break from Starfield for a bit just to kind of wait for that DLC because hoping they fix 2 of my 5 playthroughs with some of the updates. So we'll see if that happens.
All right, man. Shout out to all the real gamers in here, man. That's real gamer stuff. But let's get into some of these chat questions. So shout out to you, Roberto Z. I'm going to take the first question. He said, do you think Xbox has a shadow drop before the end of 2024? And these are just open season, fellas. We can just fire these off in any order. So anybody want to go?
A shadow drop before the end of this year?
End of this year.
No. I'm going to say no.
No, I don't really. I mean, I don't think they need to. I think they got enough loaded, especially if we get some kind of hardware announcement in the winter.
They shadow drop a game and they still moved Avowed on me. Oh man, I'll be so freaking pissed. I'll be so pissed.
Oh yeah, you have personal reasons. Mav, you want to chime in on that shadow drop possibly
for which game?
Xbox. No, just Xbox in general. 2024, end of 2024.
Man, I think it would be like if it's a shadow drop, it'll be like a Game Pass deal thing. Not for like a brand new game, but like for a game that's already been somewhere else.
Well, we'll probably get a shadow drop of like Activision Blizzard games, right? They're starting to line them up, so we might get a big like Monday. We could get an announcement. And they could drop a huge boatload of games into Game Pass.
I think they'll do like Game Pass shadow drops or like a game that was on Nintendo or PlayStation before come to Xbox, and then something like that. But I don't think any like big new game type deals. I think it's too late in the year maybe for that, and unless there was some kind of crazy thing they did at the Game Awards or something like, and it would be still kind of maybe a smaller type thing,
because I think most of us are looking at that that winter announcement is like whatever hardware, right? It's based on what Sarah said. So I think that's kind of what we're looking at as far as that being the big announcement at whatever the Keeleys, whatever. We even talked about a possible like winter developers or just a winter showcase, right, or something crazy like that if they were to try and do that. So all right. So let's get into the next question here. We got another question. Shout out to everybody. HNS 1998. He said, I want to ask you guys, how hyped are you guys for the new Gears of War E-Day? I think I have watched that trailer over 100 times. Same. I've teared up like 10 times. I'm not even gonna lie. Every time I watch it, I get a little foggy. I personally think it's going to be an amazing game. So once again, we can rapid fire this, fellas. I know Pong. I know Mav. Like, where are you guys at on how pumped are you guys for the?
I mean, E-Day? I can't. I went and bought a T-shirt. I don't buy T-shirts anymore. I have bought a T-shirt. I bought a T-shirt right after the announcement. I watched the announcement 15, 20 times easily within that first week. It reignited my gears. I went back and finished Judgment. After all this time, I hadn't finished off Judgment. Went back and finished Judgment, and part of my love for Space Marine 2 is because it gives me Gears vibes like that. E-Day is going to be a massive launch, and can't freaking wait. I don't care if it's 2 years from now. It doesn't matter to me. Coalition just needs to cook this thing the right way, and I'm just so glad I don't have to deal with the whiny kids anymore. So E-Day is going to be extra special to me. So I'm so excited.
Same. I can just speak to that as well too. I get emotional. Me and Fuzz me and Pong got emotional watching the trailer. I actually went back and watched our Xbox Showcase reaction like maybe 3 days ago. Just randomly, I decided it popped up. I literally just watched it like 3 days ago, and me and you, Pong, we were right in the same space, brother.
I backed away from the camera because I got gator tears, man. There's no question about it, bro. Yep.
Yeah. Same. So I'm in the same boat, bro. I'm so excited about the direction that they're going. The Coalition, like I said, I don't care 1-2 years. Do what you got to do. Make the game great, right? It's everything we wanted. A lot of us want it. I'm not so split on the kids as Pong says. I understand that the games got to evolve. Everybody's not gonna like
no, they don't. Garbage.
Anyway, so but anyway, getting back to the point. I'm extremely excited for E-Day, man. Like, just wrapping it up here, I'm super excited for that game. Obviously, Emergence Day is a time period you talk about if you're a Gears fan, you talk about the lore, right? What happened before they became, Cog Marines, what led up to that, what was going on right when E-Day happened. We've never really seen it. And now we're actually going to play through it, right? So it's just super interesting seeing Dom coming back, and I don't know, we're going to see Carmine and all these other people eventually, you know what I mean? Coltrane, all these other people. Are we eventually going to see any of these people? So it's just really cool to see, man, as a Gears fan. But Mav, Fuzz?
I've never really clicked with the Gears franchise. Like, it's a beautiful looking game, but I was on PlayStation when that was coming out on the Xbox. So I played 4 for a good bit, played 5 for a good bit. Looking forward to giving this one a try. This one looks more along the lines of something I'll probably enjoy more so than 4 and 5. So that's all I have.
All right, man.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I'm super happy. It took like a lot of the time now between big games that's kind of give us a little bit of the like lull or break that I feel like the Gears franchise needed. So I've been happy with waiting for it, and it seems like they're bringing it back in the right way with what us fans kind of desired, more of that style. So I'm super pumped, man. I can't wait. Take as long as they need. I think even if it's next gen launch or whatever, it'll be absolutely incredible. And it's cool that you watched that reaction.
Dude,
like, again,
I've watched it 20
cool
times, dude. Like, I've watched it like 20 times. It's so good, man.
Hey, can I ask you a random question? Because this was brought me. I was thinking about this when Fuzzy was talking about it. When Fuzzy, you were talking about GT7 coming mainly, or possibly to PC, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know if Pong, if you'd be interested in playing that on Steam, if you would get it.
Which one?
GT7.
Yeah. I was gonna say when Fuzzy was talking about it that if it does hit, I'll be picking it up. Yeah.
Right on. Yeah,
1,000%.
I was hoping maybe you would because if it drops on PC, I'm getting it on PC as well.
Oh,
because it's going to be the best experience possible. And I do think on that one, it's possible that they could do the release because that was one of the games that was announced that has the PS5 Pro enhancements, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it would line up kind of with that, right?
Yeah, potentially.
With the PC release.
Yeah, potentially. But no, absolutely. I'll definitely be checking out Gran Turismo if I got a chance. It's on the PC for sure. Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, that's all.
No, good. No, so yeah, just that's a big deal, obviously too. But let me see if we have any more questions. Did I miss anybody's question here? I felt like I missed some. Let me go up. Let's see. Oh, so Roberto got another question. He said there's supposed to be a new Fight Night coming out. I don't know if I heard anything of Fuzz. You probably know more about that. Obviously, you play Undisputed. So you closer to the news than maybe we might be. I don't know if I've heard anything about a new fight. Did they mention anything at all? I don't think so, right?
No, they haven't made any official announcement, but it seems like something EA would do after Undisputed comes to console. They're going to see that there's this resurgence for a boxing game more so than an MMA game type of thing, and they'll probably try and do something real quick as far as to compete with it. But yeah, just be ready in October. I think it's October 10th or something like that, or 13th when it comes out. The improvements that they've made over the year and a half or so that it's been in early access, I would say it's worthwhile. The movement, I think, will be something a little bit more enjoyable as far as in comparison to like Fight Night. Like you can definitely slip punches and not have it where it's just due to the animation glitch or something like that. You can get the feel of moving your boxer around like you would probably try and move in the ring. The only drawback I think at launch is going to be the clinch. They're redoing that animation and stuff. Like the clinch is currently in, but they're going to when the 1.0 comes out, they're going to replace it with a push, and then they'll update it probably within the next 6 months to putting the clinch where it doesn't get janky, where you can have the character that you're grabbing be sideways, and then it's like you're locked until the referee breaks you up. So that's something that they still have to work on. But the overall, the movement, the punches, they're going to make the punches feel a little bit more weighty. As far as the damage to areas, you'll visibly be able to see it and stuff like that. So Undisputed, I would say, is going to be definitely worth. I think it's what is it coming out at 60 or 70. So definitely pick it up when it comes out.
Yeah, good roster of boxers too. That was impressive as far as the roster that they were able to gather, because EA ain't trying to pay because those are independent contractors. They you know what I mean. So they'd have to pay each one of them. They have to negotiate individually for each boxer. So it's cool that Undisputed was able to do that and get that locked in. That's big. So
can I respond to something in the chat?
Yeah,
real quick?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Andrew Wilkins says GT7 won't be best played on PC. GT sports cars were built with 8K assets imported to GT7 so it can be played at 8K on console. Xbox fans constantly are wrong or like, hey, you enjoy that shitty frame rate 8K mode they'll have on GT7 on the PS5 Pro while we're playing at 4K 60 with all the ray tracing bells and whistles on PC. I hope you enjoy that very much. That's it. Like, I don't know. This is one of those 4090 people, maybe in the chat that actually thinks that the PS5 Pro is going to be like 4090 power or something, to where it can be like a 7900 XT AMD graphics card. And you don't think the developers are going to take advantage of it? Every single PlayStation game plays best on PC if you have the power to push it there. And that PS5 Pro, I'm sorry, it's going to be a great console if you want to spend the money for it, but it's not going to do what a high-end PC does, even if they have a 8K mode. That's like utterly like ridiculous. Anyway,
I'll put it to you this way: if if he knows better, all he has to do is put it in 120 mode and see the difference between 120 mode and 60 and know how crappy it looks. Like it desaturates and it gets so jaggy as far as the pixels, but it's smooth at 120 frames. So if you think the 8K is going to be something special on the console versus what you'll be able to do on PC, you probably need to get your eyes checked. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I've heard some takes, man. But yeah,
That's crazy.
That's
I'm gonna leave that to the tech guys. I'm staying out of that argument, that conversation. I'm leaving that to you guys for sure. But no, shout out to chat, man. You guys have been here rocking out with us all night, man. It's been a great show. We gotten into all of our little bags. It's been a while since we've been getting to chat questions and things like that. So don't forget, we got a few minutes left. Chat, drop a like on the video. Drop a like on the channel if you're new here. Subscribe as well too. Would appreciate all of you, man. Anything else we missed, Pong? What else we missed, bro? I know we was talking about some things pre-game, man. Anything else happened this week for us that we might have that we could get into?
People clipping me for not being interested in.
I saw that. I saw that. I was like, oh, look at Fuzz. This is debut. This is your debut. I've never seen you clipped in anything.
Well, it's because I said, I played the first one on my PS5 and it was a great tech demo. I really wish other developers paid as much attention to the DualSense tuning as they did for Astrobot, but I'm not really a platformer guy. Like, I'm not buying the new Astrobot. If the pack-in was not something I would have bought to begin with, even after playing, I wouldn't have bought it if it was offered for sale. So it is what it is.
And you gave some fair criticism too, man. I think obviously they was gonna throw the book at you for everything you said, right? But if you look, once again, this is why the community is where it's at. We got to be objective about these. You take a step back. Shout out to Steel, that RTS view. I'm stealing that, right? So you got to take that perspective and you got to just look at things for what you did. Your criticism was not harsh in any kind of way. You didn't say it was a bad game. You didn't say it was terrible. You didn't say, oh, this little stupid kid game. You didn't say anything. You didn't even, you gave it fair criticism. And once again, you guys can go watch the video or whatever is that on Twitter. It's there somewhere. I'm sure you can, find it in the search. But it was pretty down the middle, and I think that was pretty fair. Not everybody's gonna have that Nintendo-like love for a game like Astrobot, and people get upset because you don't. And it's kind of strange. And I'm like, no, wait, we don't all feel the same way about this, and that's okay.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
Yeah, he was just in the line of fire because he's on Boom Show, and Boom Show is under the gun right now. So all Boom's channel is. So it's pretty funny to watch, actually. But there wasn't a whole lot else, I guess. I mean, there was small stuff. Again, Tony Hawk kind of confirmed that they're working on something new.
I saw that.
Which people were guessing anyways because they had changed their header on X for their anniversary. So that started the rumors, and then Tony was asked about it, and he said, well, we're talking. I can't say anything now, but we're talking, but fans should probably be pleased. It'll be something the fans will truly... What was his exact quote? It'll be something... I got it right here. It'll be something that fans truly appreciate. So I'm assuming a new Tony Hawk is in the works, which will be dope. And Singularity, a game that that many of us
listed, right?
Say it's underrated. It was one of those games late in the 360 era. A lot of people missed out on Singularity. It's one of those 360 games that is an absolute cult classic, and it has been relisted, and it looks like that'll be a part of the group that they are bringing back. It was one of the games brought up originally. If you were listening to us list off old Activision games that we wanted, Singularity, I know for a fact I said it. I know multiple people said it. It is a fantastic game. I hope this is happening for real, because if it is, a lot of people can go back and enjoy the hell out of this game. I'm pretty sure it will hold up. It was done by Raven, when they were in their prime on top of things, and they crafted a hell of a story, and the mechanics in that are freaking fantastic. So if that does work out and you guys have never touched Singularity before, please find some time to go check it out and see if it's for you, because it's going to be well worth your Game Pass subscription price for that month. I'll tell you that much. It's a great game.
Thanks. Awesome. So We got a quick super chat from RWK88 199 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. He said, "Listen, guys, I do enjoy y'all. We enjoy you too for hanging out with us." RWK, shout out for the super chat. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, brother. I know you sold the game at the beginning of the show. I know we were gonna close here, and I want to sell a game before the show closes. I almost never do this, but I'm having so much fun with this game. I just want to urge you guys to go try out a little game called Core Keeper on the Xbox. It's on Game Pass right now. I think it's on PC as well too. I think they even have a sale if you want to support the dev and buy it. It's a Swedish dev. I believe it's like 5 people. But I don't know how many people are in the Terraria or Minecraft like games, the like sandbox, like boss rush kind of games where you just can kind of do anything. They put a objective out there. The real objective is just beat the boss, move on, beat another boss, move on. But instead of just like boss rush, where it's boss, it's more boss, sandbox, where you just do anything to work your way to the next boss, right? So it's extremely fun, man. Well done. It reminds a lot from like graphically of like the Octopath Traveler games, Pong. From like a graphic standpoint, really, really beautiful game. High quality, super deep, man. Like super deep game. Like once it's co-op, you can play up to 8 people online co-op. You get seeds, so every single map is unique. I urge you guys to go try it. It's in Game Pass right now. You know, it's on PC. If you want to buy it in Steam, I think it's like $15 or something, super cheap. So go support the dev, man. But that's my sales pitch, Pong. I never do that, but I'm having so much fun with that game.
Love it. Yeah. Hey, you got to do that sometimes.
Yeah,
Again,
man.
I haven't had a chance to download it and try it. I saw it,
man.
Obviously knew about it.
Yeah,
I just got so much to play.
I have not. I understand.
Bro,
I understand.
so much to play right now. But yeah, I know that's normally one I would download and try. And again, I had more looked at it and just said, oh man, they really want you to play co-op in this. And I was like, I wonder how the single player actually is. Now that you told me that it's fine and that you can play the single player,
oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Then I'll check it out. I mean, I'm going to try to find some time and check it out and download it because that's what I said.
Yeah.
No risk, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Game Pass.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap the show up on that note, man. Right, 9:00 on the dot, brother. But man, first and foremost, everybody in chat, I want to say thank you. I know the show's been inconsistent, but your boy is back. We will be back next week, man. Same time, same place. It's phenomenal being here with you guys. You guys always come back and support. All the love, the super chats and the love and the chat, just talking and being engaged. That's always the biggest thing for me. Who cares about anything else? Is that as long as we're here having fun with each other, that's all I care about. That's why this podcast has lasted as long as it has. You guys are really the fuel to that. But let me go ahead and go around the horn here. Let everybody get their pleasantries so we can get out of here. Matt, first and foremost, brother, once again, I want to make sure I do this again, brother. I'm sorry for missing the show. I really, really wanted to be there.
I'll forgive you
live.
eventually, man.
All right, please find it in your heart, please. You're gonna make me turn into a thespian and start talking like Shakespeare, but find it in your heart to no. But I appreciate you so much. But you know how I feel about you, man. And I don't take no credit for anything that anybody that I've encountered their success. You guys do that. That's the reason I came across you in the first place, right? Like that's kind of how that works. You see something and it just kind of snowballs. So you did all the work, brother. And all the credit goes to you, Kate, everybody that supports FSP, all the members, because we always have a lot here. A few on the panel are a part of FSP. So shout out to you. Everything you guys got a lot more growing to do, brother. You better fucking buckle up. That's all I know, man, because things is only getting better for you guys, brother. But let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, I appreciate again the kind words, man. And again, I was always looked up to you and everything you've been doing, and you always kind of set an example. So I just try to follow in that and the best we can, and other people as well in the community has been absolutely amazing. And it's about the games. It's just about just being who you are and just staying true to what you think, and not being no fake ass, POS. That there's lots of those out there. You just got to go and say what you think, and like if sometimes people are going to not agree. Sometimes they are going to agree. And that's just all it is. But if you just consistently do that, eventually then, people find you and that realize that you are who you're presenting yourself to be. Right. And that's the thing I've admired about you and a lot of the other people that I had come through on the show. But I appreciate everything you said, man. And yeah, we got a lot more to catch up to you, man. You're already 351. Absolutely insane. How long you've been doing this, and it's absolutely incredible. And I think your show has just gotten better and better, even especially like you got Pong and Fuzzy as like your main panelists here. Ever since that happened. I think it's just been absolutely awesome. So, great to be here whenever I can be, and yeah, we'll see you again another time.
Yeah, appreciate you, brother. Oh, and Mavs, all his information is always down in the chat. I make sure I put the guest information down in the comment section. Sorry, not comment, but the the comment section / description. Sorry, that's the better word for it. You guys can find him down there. Please go support FSP, everything Mav has going on. Great dude. You guys know, most of you guys here are family already, but if you're not, please do that. Shout out to you once again, man, for coming through. And he will be back sooner than later. He will be back for sure. My brothers, man. Pong, another great show back Saturday evening. It feels right. Feels good. Feels like I can go on with my Saturday now and the rest of my weekend. I got 3 days off here, so I'm gonna try and rest up. But I feel good, brother. So we back. Let everybody know they can find you.
Yeah, we back, and what a way to kick it off with a nice new announcement of brand new hardware to stir things up in the community and get us talking. Man. Fun week this week, talking about all this stuff. And again, there's craziness on all sides over this thing and whatever else. And I think that most of us have had pretty level-headed conversations about it. Taking that RTS view, as Steele likes to say, and just taking a step back, and a lot of it's what we thought this was going to be. So, but a fun time to get back to it with you, PTK. Great to hear your voice, and Fuzzy, of course, as well, brother. Always great to have another show with you, and of course, Mav. 3 shows this week, including Xbox Ultimate number 200, which was just awesome last night.
Man. That thing was awesome.
Yeah, what a great week, man. So, otherwise, chat. Absolutely incredible to see all the familiar faces showing up and showing out each and every week. Again, we're back towards that holiday rush to the fall time. School's back in session. Feels like that energy's starting to pick up again. Everybody's playing games. We're all talking big-time game stuff here, and that's the best part about this. So thank you all for being here and supporting this show and all the shows as you always do. Nothing but love and respect. You guys know how to find me by now. Pong Soul everywhere. X, formerly known as Twitter, Xbox, Steam, Epic, GOG, you name it. Follow me, I'll follow you back. And then of course, the week starts for me on Thursdays, but I always have to shout out Mr. Boomstick and Double Barrel Gaming on Tuesdays for Xbox Factor Podcast. All good things green. He does it 5 days a week, but the Xbox Factor will always have a special place.
Shout out
as
to
one
Boom.
of the first shows I started. Yeah, Mr. 15K. Listen, Boom does it. He does it a lot, man, but he does it well, and he supports so many of us in the community. So I will always give him a shout out. So join them there Tuesdays, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. And then, of course, Thursday for me is when I get it started with this dude right here over on the Fun Speculation Network. That's right. I get to sit down with the CEO of the Fun Speculation Network each and every week, and he actually gives me the lead chair on Thursday nights for PM in the PM Pong and Mav in the PM, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. 2-man show. Get the chat involved. We go about 3+ hours. Join us there next week. And then, of course, Fridays, it's Xbox Ultimate. I am not as consistent as I once was because Friday nights get a little bit crazy, but I was there last night for the entire show. Hey, you got to join us on Friday night. The family gets together. We have lots of laughs. We also have lots of good conversations no matter how many of us are there. So please join Xbox Ultimate, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Again, next week will be episode 201. If you missed last night, King was there, right? We had Colt show up. We had Boom show up. We had Infinite Umbra show up. We had Dirt Griggity show up. Drop over there and check out the replay. It was a fun night. And then, of course, Saturday mornings, it's Living Split Screen. Split Screen's all one word. Myself, my brother from another Steel, Rain. We go live raw and uncut, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Today, we had an hour late start because Steel had to stay a little bit extra at work. This is his work week. You get usually 3+ hours, usually 4+ hours. Today, we cut it a little bit short after about 3.5, but we usually take you from your morning to your afternoon, or your afternoon to your night every Saturday, talking all that good talk, including a ton of game talk. In fact, we're averaging about an hour and a half to 2 hours to start the show of just talking games, and other topics that they pop up from the chat or whatever else. You want to hear two gamers talk? That's where you're going to find us, along with PM and the PM on Thursday nights. That's who me and Mav are too. But Steel and I get it started on Saturday. So Living Split Screen every Saturday, and then right back here, God willing, for another episode of the Shop Podcast. Man, love you all. So please, it's the golden age of gaming. enjoy it. I can't get behind the people that are saying it's awful gaming right now. Sure, there's a lot of games coming out that are not for everybody or just are not good. But my God, we're getting more games than ever before, which means on the other side, the flip side, which I love, the optimistic side, getting more games than I've ever had in my entire life that are for me, that are great. And I'm sure the same is for you if you are the same type of gamer. So get out there, have a great rest of your weekend, play what you love what you play, and I'm going to talk to you all real soon. Thanks again, PTK.
Appreciate you, Pong. Once again, go follow the boy Pong, man. There's a lot of places, you know what I'm saying? Go. Easiest way to keep up is probably go follow him on X/Twitter, man. But shout out to you for coming through every single week, being the one of the biggest reasons to why this show is where it's at, brother. So love you and appreciate you, my real life brother. And last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, we are back, brother. It just feels right. It feels good. It feels like what's supposed to happen on Saturday evenings, man. Got to feed the people, but let everybody know they can find you, Fuzz.
Oh yeah. This was awesome. Just so glad to be back here with you guys. Always awesome when we have Mav on here as well. And thanks to everybody in the chat coming out and just hanging with us. Watching us shoot the shit, just talking games and having fun. But for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on Pixelated Echoes on Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't think we're doing a show tomorrow. 3-Bit's just getting back from vacation, so might have to do a Tuesday show. But Monday, catch me on Xbox Lunch Break Special, 12 noon on Double Barrel Gaming with Mr. Boomstick at, once again, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Monday. And then later that evening, FSP on Fun Speculation Channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you guys there. And by the way, definitely come back here for next Saturday for the Shop Podcast. Same time, same channel, 10 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you guys there. Thanks again.
Appreciate you, man. Go follow Fuzz too, man. You want to go see what he got going on? Go hit him up on X/Twitter, man. But last but not least, your host here, PTK Blam. I am back, man. I feel good. Obviously we got to keep this thing consistent, so I will be back weekly with these podcasts, back to weekly doing some weekly drops on some videos too. That's one thing I got away from, so that will be back as well too, man. I just appreciate love and support, man. Every time we come back, you guys are here waiting on it. You guys love the content, man. Shout out to the guests once again, Matt, for coming through too. But yeah, you guys can find me. The easiest place is going to be Twitter/X PTK Blam. Xbox if you want to play some games, PTK Blam there too. But other than that, man, you guys enjoy your weekend. We will be back next week. Appreciate the love and support. Peace out, everybody. Have a good and safe weekend.